I was lucky enough to go away to school and live in New York for a while. And truly that feeling of coming back, that is what actually was the big change for me, is I came back from living in New York and I looked around, I'm like, this place is beautiful. And I kept saying that to my dad. I said it so many times. I'm like, Dad, this place is gorgeous. And he's like, yes, this is why we're here. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I had a whole new set of new eyes.
Elizabeth Poett is a 7th generation cattle rancher, author of the best-selling cookbook, The Ranch Table, and star host of the cooking and lifestyle show, Ranch to Table, one of the founding shows of the Magnolia Network. Okay, well, let's start with the word that your mom emphasized, tranquilo. I love how you talked about that language and how it doesn't necessarily encapsulate tranquil.
Yes.
That translation just doesn't always exist. Can you talk about what the word means to you and how it's informed everything you do?
That is a great question. I'm excited about having this conversation with you. I would say my mom always says in the kitchen, tranquilo, tranquilo, that feeling of calm. And this is coming from my mother, who is full Italian woman who is crazy in the kitchen, actually, and she's throwing things all over the place. And that's how I really grew up. But I think that there is that feeling that is so important when you are hosting, when you have people to your home, when you're feeding people, when you have kids running around, family running around. We're in the middle of holidays and having that feeling of the holidays get crazy. And so having that kind of centered, to be centered, I think is really important when you are hosting, when you're having a gathering, and when you're bringing people together. So I think tranquilo is something that has always been important to me. I danced flamenco for many years, actually, here in Santa Barbara for...
Fun fact.
Yes.
I did not read that online.
Little fun fact. Yeah, I danced. I tried out for Spirit of Fiesta for years and years, never won. But also my dance teacher would say that a lot as well. It's just that, running to get somewhere, running to finish, like for example, when you're giving a party, when you have guests over, when you're doing a dinner party, a lot goes into all of the work, all of the food. Everybody, that's not just you. Everybody feels that, even me. And you just want people to come into your home and just simmer.
Yeah. How do you find the centeredness amidst the wildness?
Well, you drink heavily. No, just kidding.
That's okay. You can tell the truth here.
No. I think I've just become used to it. I think that is something that nothing is perfect. Nothing is going to be perfect. The table is not, you're going to make it perfect, and I love making a table, and then it will be destroyed. And that's okay. And that's part of it. That is just part of the joy of bringing people together. I just had our neighbors over, and they just had 2 little ones, and I sat them together at the head of the table, and we lit the candles, and to them though, they became everything became so magical because we lit the candles. And there's just something, kids, bring kids in.
Yeah.
Bring them in because it's gonna really affect them as they grow.
It's amazing what a sense, tapping into one of the 5 senses can do for a gathering. Just a little bit of light has so much magical touch, on a dinner. What else goes into making the perfect table?
I love a good seating arrangement. I love seating cards, no matter, even if it's a table of 6. I think it gives, that's one of my biggest things that I love, because to me, of course I don't do it with just my 4 family, we're not doing that.
That would be awkward.
It would be awkward. Okay, Jack, you're here? No, but if we have friends over, I love doing that because it gives especially when there is a larger party, it has, where to put your things. it has a place where a guest can feel that this is their space. They're not in somebody else's space. It immediately, I feel, makes a guest feel welcome, that they were invited, that they feel welcome, that they're here to join. And it also is just special. It just kind of elevates any sort of dinner party right away. So I would say that's one of my favorite things. I always like to also think way ahead. So I always have a drink station. I always have, some sort of appetizer station, but
Yeah. I heard a story that at one of your gatherings, a couple of people sat next to each other and they discovered this like crazy intimate connection that they had.
Yes.
And they were like, did she plan this? And you said, no, you didn't plan it. But I think you've just hosted so many gatherings. You have this like intrinsic ability to put the right people next to each other. And I think that's really beautiful that after some time, it doesn't really take science. It's just kind of like feeling the heartbeat of the community,
Yeah.
So.
No, at our ranch table events, we have these long tables, and I loved it. We have these community tables. We also have private tables, but most people want to come and sit at these community tables. And I do place cards as well there, and because of course I want you to sit next to your party, but I want you to be able to sit next to different parties from all over the country.
Right, in the world, right?
In the world.
People come from all over.
All over.
Yeah,
people come from all over. And it has been amazing, the connections that people have made. I sat two people next to each other who were both single, but both have exchanged cards.
Okay.
And I think there was a date. So
wow.
I think I win there.
You're pseudo
That's felt
matchmaking.
really good.
I like it. So when it comes to cooking, I know you have recipes, obviously, and they're incredible. But I think you also cook intuitively. You're not like, by the book, no pun intended. It sounds like you really allow the food to speak to you, and you cook so seasonally, which is, in Santa Barbara, I suppose that's a given. Yeah. How do you do that in the kitchen? How do you allow yourself to just kind of move with the dish?
I want my recipes to be attainable, that people can actually make at home and don't have to, search on the web and order things. This is about simplicity and being together and just, to be honest, like a really good meal.
Yeah. Are there any recipes that didn't make the cookbook? Or I feel like I should call it a cookbook/memoir, because I love how you really weaved in your own story, and that's the story of your family. So correction there, but I'm curious if there are recipes that you love that aren't in here. Can you give us a little inside scoop?
Yeah, there definitely were some ones that I actually made, because the whole journey of making a cookbook and making a cookbook is you do so much ahead of time, and then there's a whole year where you're waiting for it to be published and everything. And I did create some dishes afterward that I thought, oh gosh, I really wish. I have a
well, there will just have to be a part two.
I know there might be another one in the future. But a strawberry, I love I make this strawberry cake with strawberry icing, and it is kind of that picture perfect to me for like a birthday party. It just is like that picture perfect cake. I love that cake.
Yeah,
so.
and strawberries here, insane.
Yeah. And it has this it's perfectly pink, and it has no dyes in it. It just is like perfectly pink. And I have two boys, so I'm like,
you gotta get the pink where you can.
I just love it so much.
What about a recipe that was passed down to you from someone you love? Because
yes.
The generational situation happening over there at San Julian is really special, and I wonder. I know the land was passed down to you.
Yes.
How was food passed down to you?
So one of my grandfather and I were very, very close, and he was really the cook of the family. And he passed away right before my wedding, actually. And so he got to meet Austin, but he never got to meet my two boys. And he really... he was a really special man in the kitchen, because he really loved food and thought food was funny. And he would go around to people's neighbors and say like, oh, you have he would always go around and make olives, and he would say, like, you have an olive tree. Can I like pick all your olives? And then I'm going to bring you back some olives.
That's
and
so
he would
sweet.
make them, and he would bring them back to him. So, but he had this huge, he actually had two, but like one huge Rolodex box, and it was full of his favorite recipes. And it is, and he left it to me.
Aww.
And to me, that is what a gift to be able to be given all of those recipes, all of his favorite things that he loved to taste. And then I cook from it now for my boys. And even though my boys can't meet my grandfather, they do get to see and taste the things that he loved to eat.
I read in your book that you love like old things and you love to keep them well, which is so beautiful. What old things do you like besides like, you know, recipes?
Well, my house, basically everything in my house came from the barn. I love old things. It's true. I love, I think that things, if they're made well, they're going to last for a really long time. I have a lot of old tools in my kitchen. I have tons of, like, I have an old, it was my grandmother's that, you know, really, now I feel like a real dork because I'm like, let me tell you about how
we're in a bookstore, so we like working as it's okay.
Because I have a great garlic, and it's just, it presses garlic, but in such an amazing way, and it's, you know, sturdy and it's not breaking, and I just love it. That's one of my favorite things. But I just love old things. It is true. I love everything.
Yeah. I just want to know, like, how do you do what you love and love what you do and not allow that magic that you found as a little girl dissipate?
Yeah, I think I am. I feel very lucky that I have been able to do the work. I mean, first of all, like being able to be born and raised on this ranch, it is, I feel like I'm here for only, you know, however amount of time I'm here, and my time to be here is to take care of this land and to be a steward of the land and to keep it alive and keep that, you know, because there is, I mean, the ranch is large. It has, you know, as with any businesses and families and everything, there's always problems. There's always issues. I walk around the ranch and I go, oh my God, like we have this problem and have to do this. And, but I want it to stay alive. I want it to stay vibrant. And I feel very lucky that this is something that I get to do. I feel like that's actually, it's almost a gift to me that I get to live on the ranch, that I get to work on it every day. I get to work with animals. I get to work with the land. We work with scientists who come and are doing projects in the creeks or, you know, all of these things, but they're all for the future. Yeah. You know, we don't have the business of the ranch, you know, most businesses are quarterly, you know, like first quarter, second quarter, like ours are generations. Right. Like, so for the next generation, those are those are the things that we are thinking about. It's not the quarters of a year.
I feel like you just defined sustainability, you know? Yeah. What is it like to live in that world? I mean, we all live that way. Like, we don't know what's coming. Everything's uncertain. But I feel like it's just a whole new world on a ranch. You know, it's playing out in a very tactile way. Right. So can you, like, take us through a day on the ranch? Take us through a month. What is it like to go through unpredictability?
And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about ranching is that every single day, every single morning when we wake up, I have no clue what the day is going to bring, mainly because of animals. I'll give a quick, funny, cute example. It's a cute one, so there's other not so cute ones, but a cute one is that, you know, Austin comes in and we're drinking coffee and I'm looking down at the sheep and I'm thinking, is there a baby right now? Wait, they're totally not supposed to be lambing, but there's a baby down there. And so we have, all of a sudden, we have this new baby lamb that we have to, you know, like bring in and make sure is doing okay and is nursing all right. And, you know, I didn't just get to jump out and, you know, live the life that I was supposed to of whatever I was supposed to do that day. You know, it just completely changes the day.
How do you manage a schedule when like there's just a new baby lamb? I mean, I would put everything off, no problem. Like,
no, the schedule thing is no, we don't have a schedule. The one thing I know I try to do, I get my boys to school. I get my boys to school and I pick them up from school.
Good for you.
Yeah, I know that those times
good.
have to be.
Yeah.
And so I do those things. And then in the middle of that time and in the evening of that time and morning of that time, and they know that, you know, when I pick them up, their first question is, where are we going?
What do they do on the ranch?
Everything.
Yeah.
They're
all hands on deck.
It's all hands on deck all the time. And they're funny, you know, I mean, Jack is now 13 and Hank is 10. And so they are, Jack said that he wished we lived in town. And because
is he a city boy?
Well, no, not at all, but he's kind of getting to that age where he wants to, you know, his friends are the most important thing, you know. It's a place where I was at one point as well,
right?
You know, absolutely. And I think it's a really healthy place to be. You know, is that it's okay for them not to. I mean, they have to do the work, and so they help us with everything. You know, they're riding horses, they're fixing fence, they're helping us with the lamb, they're helping us with cattle. They know animals so well, and they don't even know that they know. But it will be at some point they should go away and do. I mean, it's what happened to me. I was lucky enough to go away to school and live in New York for a while, and truly that feeling of coming back, that is what actually was the big change for me. Is I came back from living in New York, and I looked around. I'm like, this place is beautiful. And I kept saying that to my dad. I said it so many times. I'm like, Dad, this place is gorgeous. And he's like, yes, this is why we're here. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I had a whole new set of like new eyes, just to be able to see. I grew up in it.
Yeah.
And I was able to step back and then come back. And when I came back, it was just like, this is home.
Has that stuck for you? Do you still have that sort of fresh eye take on a daily basis, or do you have to leave and come back? I would think traveling is difficult when you run a ranch.
It is. Travel is difficult, but it is important to like step away and come back. I think for anyone and for everyone in their lives. But I think I'm constantly in awe of what the place, how it just is so alive.
Yeah.
Every day.
So I know that you have like this party notebook that you keep, which is so interesting. And I was actually talking to Camille Stiles about that the other day. She keeps, I was like, you have a burn book? Because she keeps a notebook for her gatherings. Afterwards, she writes notes about people. Like she learns things about them and she literally jots them all down so she doesn't forget. Which I think is so smart because it's just a vast world. We're learning things all the time. So I love that you have a notebook, and I know you have cookbook journals too.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you can share some of your process around that.
Yeah, my mom, it was inspired by my mom. My mom has these notebooks that you can go back to my 8th grade birthday party and see who we invited, who are which of course we invited everyone in our class. We did it all. And it's so fun to be able to go and make these books.
Yeah.
And so every single event, every single dinner, birthday party, I love writing everything down beforehand. I love the idea of writing notes afterward. I don't usually unless things go badly. and like I needed...
Like for correction?
For example, like we had Thanksgiving recently and we had 2 turkeys and we should have had 3. So
wrote that down.
Yeah, right. We wrote that down. We're like, okay, we have this many people. We need to have, especially because everybody loves leftovers.
As far as the book goes,
yeah.
What was the process? Did you have anything to draw on, or did this all just kind of pour out of your heart?
I think it was a mixture of family recipes, recipes that have been handed down, recipes that my mom has made that not that didn't have recipes with them, and then things that I love to cook my family and love to cook for events. And we have one of the things on the ranch, and why I love cooking, I think, really is that the biggest thing when you are having all of these people to come and help work on the ranch, because the ranch, we could never do it without our community, without our neighbors and everyone. And we go and help them, but you have to feed them. You want to feed them at the end of the day, because that is the way, it's instead of payment, everybody feeds each other. And I've always loved that, and that's something that is really important, that they have a really good meal. And these are a lot of the things that I have cooked over the years for, big groups of people and also just our small family.
It's crazy that you have that much food. Is there a recipe you make over and over again?
I make my fried chicken over and over again.
Understandable. It looks insane.
I do love my fried chicken, and it's we put honey all over it, which is really delicious. It's like that salty sweet. I love salty sweet. There's a chocolate cake in there that I make. It's an easy 4-layer chocolate cake that I make for almost every single birthday party.
What was it like shooting your show? We gotta talk about the show.
It was different. I'd never done anything like that before in my life. And when we started, we shot the pilot in like the depth of COVID. It was so kind of weird, because I hadn't had people in my home. All of a sudden, these people are all flying from all over the country.
Production, right?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. It's been really fun. For me, the show, they came to me and I immediately said, asked if I would want to do a show. And I immediately said, thank you so much. It is a huge honor, but no, thank you. Because
you declined.
Totally. My fear always was that I feel like on television, there's not a lot of putting agriculture in a good light, in a positive light, in a, it maybe more homey, down home. I don't know. But I wanted to make sure that it was true to who I am, true to who our family is, true to what the ranch is about. And not so much rolling in the hay, although that sounds fun. But
media can misconstrue everything.
But I wanted to really be true to what the ranch is all about. And so I put this together, and Chip and Joe, who own Magnolia, came out and visited, and they loved it. So it's been such an adventure.
How do you think you maintained authenticity on the show?
I just was really upfront in the beginning that I really wanted this to be true. To be a true story of what my life is really like, not a made-up version. And and then at the end of the day, someone gave me great advice. They just said, and then at a certain point, you just have to trust. Which is really hard. But for me, I did just trust my crew, and I trust who was putting the episodes together. I am very much involved because I come up with all the recipes. I definitely put my hands in everywhere to make sure that it was staying true. I don't have somebody coming up and saying, these are the recipes you're gonna do. These are truly the recipes that I really make in my home, and I test them in my home, and all of it. So I stayed involved.
It sounds like you do that all over your life. If you're fixing fences, then I love that you I don't know, you seem to really practice what you preach. You're very integrated into what you believe in, which is really lovely. And it's cool to imagine you fixing a fence and you're wearing this beautiful dress right now, Many sides to Elizabeth. Okay, I've got another excerpt I want to read, and then I'll ask you one more question, and then I'll let you guys ask questions. As our midnight approaches, my mom and I hand out small pieces of paper and pens. It's time for our last end-of-year tradition, setting intentions and getting rid of anything we don't want to bring into the new year. Each person writes down hopes for the new year or troubles they don't want to bring with them into the future, and then throws each piece into the fire one by one. I take a minute to reflect on the challenges we faced in the past 12 months and think about my hopes and dreams for both my family and the ranch in the coming year. We never know what life will be like from month to month or even day to day. We can't predict how much rain we'll get or how hot the dry season will be. My hope is that whatever happens, we'll keep doing what we've always done. We'll spend our days working with the animals, enjoy our time with family and friends, celebrate our successes, and do our best to change and adapt with the land from season to season. We'll work every day to take care of this place that has nurtured my family and do what we can to leave it even better for future generations. So going forward, if you could throw something into the fire right now, what would it be?
We have a bonfire every year, and it's usually the brush that has been, we do a lot of clearing for fires and everything. So we usually have a big bonfire, and we have these, things that we want to bring into the year or that we don't want to bring into the year. I would say something, though, that's a hard one. I would say something that I would want to bring into the year that I have been kind of thinking a lot about is, and I know this sounds silly because I talk so much about being present, but more. Like more. I want, there's so much that I want to do. There's so many projects that I want to do, so many things that I want to do on the ranch. And I think I want more of that. And so I think for me, that's one of the words that kind of is calling me.
Yeah.
That I want.
You want to multiply.
Yeah, and and not have fear.
Yeah, that's good. Since we're at godmothers, Can you share a godmother in your life who's informed your work? And we think of godmothers as just these women in our lives who have somehow pioneered, who have lit our way, not necessarily in a spiritual or religious sense, but in the ideological sense. It could be an aunt, it could be a sister, it could be a friend, it could be a writer. Who's been that person for you?
Growing up, I've always watched my mother have a strong group of women friends in totally different kind of worlds, but still just like these strong women. So I have 5 godmothers that I call them. They're my godmothers.
Wow.
Again, it's not necessarily religious, but these are these women that have empowered me, have pushed me along, that have helped me along growing up, and I think that that's a godmother. I was when I first heard the name that this was called Godmothers, it really resonated with me because that is what I think, and I try to do the same with my kids. That it does take a village, to raise children. It does take a village, and at different parts of everyone's lives, you need not just your parents, you need others that you can look up to, learn from, ask questions, feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I have 5 women in my life that are, much older than me, but who have really been those other mothers to me, that have really brought me at different times, places that I've really needed to go, not physically, but just be able to learn and grow.
Yeah, it's clear that you're surrounded by some pretty incredible people, and they're equally lucky to have you in their lives.
I feel so. I do. I really do. So I couldn't even name one of them. I just think that all of them have really pushed me in ways to help me succeid.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Let's open it up for questions. I want to hear what you guys have to ask.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
With Rancho San Julian being a family business,
yes,
I am curious what it felt like to grow up there and then transition into being the boss, and how that felt for you, and maybe you could speak to what it felt like for your parents to kind of lay the reins down a little bit.
It's hard. Definitely. I think change is hard. Transitions are hard. It's especially hard within a family because it's misty, because there's gray areas, because when does one person step down and another take over? I think I feel very lucky. My dad we talk a lot about the future and different things, and we don't agree on everything, on how things should go, but we do agree on the final goal. And I think for me, that has been something that final goal, that if you're together on that, then you're going the same way, even though maybe others would be going a little bit differently. Does that kind of, but if you have that same final goal, that has always helped. And I think sometimes when my dad and I disagree the most, it's because we haven't had a serious conversation about what that final goal is. We're working on a barn right now, and there's been, and I know this sounds silly, but it is. It's like a huge project, and to really bring this barn back up to life, and maybe, but my dad's like, well, are we going to make this a party barn, or is this going to put on the hay? Are we going to have hay in it? Because I think we should have hay. And I'm like, well, it's a really beautiful barn, and I think we could have some parties here. But having that, okay, what is our goal? And being on the same page, has really helped. Hi.
So you give so much of yourself to the animals, to the land, to the kids, to the neighbors, and I want to know, what are some things that you also do for yourself, little moments or rituals that make you feel grounded and that feel nourishing?
Yeah. No, that's such a good question. Thank you, because it's a very important one to remember. I love going on hikes. I go on a lot of hikes. We have 4 dogs, and they love to go on walks, and they need to because they have so much energy. But I love going on hikes. I feel so replenished when I come back, and I do a lot of my thinking on these hikes. Walking for me, movement is something that has really helped me think of fun new ideas. And also, I really love Downton Abbey. So I watch Downton Abbey too sometimes. I've started it again recently in the evening times. Kids are asleep.
Do you have a preference over solitude or community? I mean, in a way, your social life is seasonal, at least in these bigger ways. So is there a preference, or?
I think seasonal is a perfect way to say it. I think over the summertime I'm out and about, and I love all of that. But it is true, I get cozy in the wintertime. Yeah. I like to be home.
You hibernate?
Yeah.
She's a bear.
Yeah, I'm a bear. I'm a bear.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah.
How do you balance the gorgeousness of a show and a book with the actual poop? My sister's a cattle rancher. She has far fewer head than you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she wakes up and mucks in the same clothes that she falls into bed exhausted at night. So, do you identify more one than the other? Do you love both? Do you look like this when you're?
The white shirt's maybe a little dirtier. Totally, all of that. I mean, I love a dress. I love throwing on a little makeup. That's not what I do throughout the day, throughout the week at all. It is something that is, it is true work. And that's what I do want to always kind of lean back to, that it's not a hobby. It's not, we have to make it work. And, sustainability is a really kind of hot, kind of sexy word. But sustainability is really tough. It's really hard to make it work over years and years, over generations. So, I'm the plumber in the house. If there's a problem with our toilets, that's me. It's not, there's a lot of work that is not fancy. I think knowing all different parts of a business, no matter what business it is, I think that's something that has always been, my dad has actually always kind of reminded me about that. You want to know how to do everything in the business. So the same goes for the ranch, that I know how to fix things. When we don't have electricity for days on end, what do we do? When we run out of water, what do we do? All of those things is just knowledge about your own business. So Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of work, and it's true, that feeling of just falling asleep. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll ask one last question.
Yeah.
In the fast-paced world, because you brought up technology with your brother.
Yeah.
How do you stay committed to the ranch? You know, how do you put your phone down? How do you stay with the land? How do you connect with nature, even with all the distractions happening everywhere all the time?
Right. I hired somebody to help me with my website. That was a big one. And emails. That's the nitty gritty of it. Because actually when the show started airing, all of a sudden there was so many more emails, so many more things that I had to respond to, and I wanted to make sure I was responding to everybody, but I was spending my whole day on a computer, and I was losing the whole point is to be a rancher and to live this life, and all of a sudden I was losing it.
Right.
And so I actually hired my dear friend who interned. She was my first intern when I started at the farmers markets, and she lives in Philly, and I just said, you don't need to be here on the ranch. I need to be here on the ranch. I just need somebody to make sure that we are getting back to people and we're moving forward on that. So, but it's hard. I'm not good at, I love Instagram. I love doing all the little things, but I don't do probably as much as everyone tells me I need to do. But I'm on the ranch. I don't care. I don't care really.
Yeah.
Like
that's the perfect place.
Yeah.
I love stopping there. Yeah. She doesn't care.
I don't care.
She's with her horses and her chickens.
Yeah, I'm with Sally, okay?
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Thank you.